Whoa. Whoa! Whoa! Yeah!
Hello and welcome back to Kimchi Studios, where we make fine art here on this channel. I'm talking 3D printable gadgets, sculptures, and other junk that you need. You can find all of my stuff in the links in the description below. And today we have a short but exciting update to my #1 downloaded STL file, a 3D printable file that you can have at the end of this video. But for the sake of this channel's future, I will not be showcasing how it is exactly used, although it is perfectly legal. And in fact, it increases the safety of the user and everyone around them. In order to see it in its full glory, you need to head over to the link that I have in the description for my Cults 3D page. You can also find it probably on the Gumroad or somewhere else, but Cults 3D is where I'd like you to go. It's a great site where artists like you and me can upload our files for exchange or for sale, so go check it out. And at the end of this video, you can have it for the low price of free. And in this video, I'm going to have an overview of the process of how I improved it by user suggestion over on Cults 3D. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my one-of-a-kind original, probably exists somewhere else out there. This is my 9mm empty chamber indicator, or chamber flag. This is my #1 downloaded item right now and has been since I started uploading 3D printables, because it's very practical and it's very cheap and easy to produce. And you can see the difference. The original that I printed is here. I have painted it on many occasions so that the lettering is very visible. You can see this thing all the way up to like 50 yards or more down at the range. And it was very easy to print because of its flat back. The design is very simple, and that was the entire premise of the design. That is exactly what I wanted at the time. However, I did notice you cannot see any lettering on the back, and that is what the user on Cults 3D suggested. They wanted to be able to see the lettering safe on the front and the back, and I didn't do it originally. It had been sitting on the back of my mind for quite some time. Now, keep in mind, I have no prior education in CAD or 3D design. In fact, from a young age, I could barely do math.
What number comes between 2 and 4?
25. Wait a minute.
And I never thought I was that creative. I barely passed math classes, but I did run a successful competitive language school over in South Korea. Maybe I'll tell you about it sometime. But then I came back to the United States 4 years ago when all of that fun stuff was happening. And I decided it was time to hunker down and really to explore my creative side and expand my creative potential, and I would never change anything about it. It's been a really great thing to do. And here on this channel, I encourage anybody else out there that's sitting on the fence of whether they're creative or not, get into it. There's so many tools available. A lot of them are free, at least to get your feet wet. You can get into it. You hear that? That's my alarm from my watch that I'm not wearing. I don't know where it is. It's a sign. It's a sign for you to start getting creative, all right? So when I came back to the States 4 years ago, I decided it was time to explore my creative side and was enjoying my newly rediscovered 2A Write, and I had an idea while at the range. It was simple, it was cheap to print, it required no supports, but that also bugged me. I originally made this ECI because where I live, the laws are pretty strict, and we don't have those run and gun outdoor ranges that people love to see on social media. We're pretty much a bowling alley state, like single lane shooting downrange with 1 or 2 targets stacked vertically. There are some exceptions, but they're not run every day and they're very out of the way, and it's just annoying. So for the most part, that is what you're going to find. And with the outdoor ranges, there carries a high caliber of added responsibility compared to the claustrophobic, dark, lead-filled air spaces of indoor ranges. There was one that I went to that I will never go back for reasons I cannot say in this video. Let's just say you have to surrender your smartphone and your license in order to use the range. If you're like me and you like the outdoors, we find ourselves walking down range to set up our targets and retrieve them. The problem is, people have a hard time comprehending the mechanics of safety. Even with a range safety officer present, if you don't have the luxury of your own private bay and you have a firing line, like I said, similar to a bowling alley, many outdoor ranges will require their shooters to insert an empty chamber indicator before anyone is allowed to walk out to retrieve or post their targets. Now, I hope I don't need to explain that to you. Now, I have seen all kinds of things used as an ECI, from weed whacker string to PLA to a cloth rag and a piece of cardboard. And let's just say we can do better. So I whipped up my very own large and very visible chamber flag that does the job very well and lets everybody know that at least I take this seriously. Now, I have gifted these to people who have accidentally flagged me while they're fumbling with their ammo and pistols after we've already declared the range cold together, letting them know that they f***ed up and need to never do that again in the nicest way possible. Now, with this thing, you never need to question it or anyone else using it on the firing line because it is massive and you can see it from 50 yards away or more. Like I said, it's free. If you lose it, you can print more. But recently I received a request on Cults 3D from a fellow user to make the safe lettering visible on both sides. Now, I wanted to do that from the beginning and thought, what do I need to add to make this possible? But if I add text to the bottom of it, then I would need supports and it would look messy when it printed. I don't care who you are, it's not gonna look the same. It's not gonna look as clean and as nice. And there's always the potential for the print to go wrong. Not only that, but it's going to increase the material used a little bit and the time to print as well. So I thought to myself, what do I add? Unless, instead of adding something to it, what if we took the text away altogether with negative space? If you've never heard of the term negative space, especially in the world of art or design, we often use negative space exercises to get out of our clip art brained ways. And I can't tell you how many times this has come in handy when designing 3D printables. In tenant terminology, you would need to go inverted. And looking at the text, you can see there was only one issue really that I ran into where I had to sacrifice the middle of the A in order to get this to work. But that was okay. That was something I was willing to do because I really liked the impact font that I had on it and I wanted that to be able to display because it's bold and powerful. And to be honest, if you have two brain cells to rub together, you're still gonna be able to read what it says. I mean, we can read jumbled words as long as the beginning and the end are intact. You can do that, right? So it now prints with less material and a little bit faster, and I think it looks great. You can read it. Safe of us. So what are you waiting for? Go download it. Give me some stars, like and subscribe. So eventually I can give away everything I make for free. You do want that, don't you? If you do, I have a Patreon where you can go find my 3D printable designs and files that you can sell as long as you're an active member on Patreon, my Patreon. Do we have a deal? I got really good news for you, and there's a little secret. Everyone gets a front row seat on my Patreon. But honestly, you just watching this video to the end really makes my day. That's support enough for me. Or is it? Now, if you need updates to what I'm doing in between videos like this, I post nearly every day, every other day on my community tab. Nobody uses the community tab, and the community tab posts seem to show up days too late, but they are there. Go ahead and look at all my community tab posts. I have about 3 to 4 in the works. I always have a bunch going on at different times that need to be printed and fine-tuned, and they are summer themed, and I did them in FreeCAD, and I have some VR sculpted ones. If you're looking to get into designing 3D printables yourself, I highly recommend FreeCAD for CAD design. It is a great program to support, and it just got a massive new update. It's great. The one that you see featured on my channel is the RealThunder's link stage version of FreeCAD. It's available on their GitHub. You download and install that on your machine. And then I have the OficineRobotica's graphical user interface and pie menu installation on mine as well. It just makes it really nice and makes the workflow much better. So if you're wondering why my FreeCAD looks different, that is why. But really, you can use whatever program you want. People always suggest the things that they like to use, like Fusion 360 or Plasticity. There are so many good software to use right now. There's so many options. You have to start today. Like, get into it today. If you were on the fence, if you thought, oh, do you think I can make something? Do it now. It takes me a long time to learn things, but you know, once I get rolling, I'm like a steamroller. I'm just gonna roll that street. Go and get started today. I also like to sculpt in VR using ShapeLab. I'm a huge fan of the VR sculpting. I think it's the future, really. Definitely check that out. I have a video where I sculpted some donuts and brought them into the real world. And by the end of it, I guarantee you're gonna be craving some donuts. So go check that out. Link is also in the description of this video. Again, thanks for watching. I believe that you were born to create, so get to it, never give up, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned.
Whoa. Whoa!